Coach, you mentioned him, Tyson Bagent, your young quarterback, played clean football for the most part for 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter it went sideways. Are teams doing things different as games go on against him because they're not used to seeing him?
I don't believe so. I mean, they've seen enough football from him now where they know what he can do and what he's capable of. So, again, like you said, for the first 3 quarters, he was really good, had a passer rating of 123, and was really a big part of our offense. I think he had 271 yards of our offense in terms of passing and running at that point. And we just got to finish better in the end. But overall, it was good.
To what do you attribute the struggles in the fourth quarter? Is it arm strength at times? Is it inexperience? Is it a combination of things? Why is he struggling in crucial moments, in your opinion?
I would really say this, that when you talk about, interceptions or turnovers, it's really never about one guy. It's always about, the guy who's catching it, and the guy who's throwing it. And, it's the rhythm and timing of it. And, again, receivers can help him by coming back to the ball, not talking a particular play, but that's typically what it is. And, decision-making by the quarterback. And he's going to learn from those things, as we go forward.
So when he says that's all on me, he's just being a good teammate, and you wouldn't agree with that?
No, it's never all in one guy. It never is. It's always on. The group. It could be a protection thing. It could be a receiver thing. It could be a quarterback thing. It's never just on one person.
Is his arm strength, and I know this has come up as far as throwing it into the end zone on that Hail Mary, and you guys took him out there. But when he's got to get into a tight window in the NFL in crunch time on a 1-score game, does he have enough on his arm to get the ball in those spots?
Yes, he's got plenty of anticipation and plenty of arm strength to get that done for sure. And we've seen him do it in practice. And again, those are all learning moments for him as he goes forward here. But we'll see where it goes.
Coach, you're working on a short week this week. What can you tell us about the status of Justin Fields?
Yeah, Justin's day-to-day. He's day-to-day. We'll look at him today and see where he goes, and we'll know more by Wednesday. But that's where he is. He's day-to-day.
Ultimately, he's a competitor like nobody else. He wants to play. At the end of the day, though, who makes the decision on whether or not he's capable of playing? Is it him? Is it the trainers? Yeah. Is it you guys?
Yeah, it's the medical staff. It's always a three-prong effect, right? The medical staff has to clear the first hurdle, and he's got to clear through that. And then, the player's got to feel good and confident that he can, operate out in the game. And then the coach's eye has to look at it and say, yes, he's functional and able to do his job.
Oh, does he have enough practice time to really test it? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, don't you guys basically go through walkthroughs and don't really practice like a regular week?
Yeah, it's a walkthrough practice for the first 2 days, and then the last day we put our helmets on and we get more speed on that last day of the 3-day practice before leading up to this.
So, what does he have enough time to get ready for a Thursday game with a limited practice?
Yeah, I think he does have enough time. And like I said, it's day-to-day, but in terms of the time frame, I think he does have enough time.
DJ Moore said yesterday when asked, he thought that it would be hard for him to return on a short week. Would you agree with that?
It's always hard to go on a short week, but again, that's possible. All things are possible, and again, we're going to take it day-to-day.
Coach, your thoughts on the addition of Montez Sweat to your team and how he ultimately played in his first game as a Bear?
I thought it was really good. He really, in terms of just learning the terminology, and learning, how we do things. And I really thought he really performed well. I know he had quite a few pressures. I think he had 4 pressures, during the course of the game. And I think he affected the other pass rushers, too, because he brought a lot of attention to his side. And I think it freed up a couple guys when we did a really good job on third down in the second half, to create some opportunities for our football team.
So like a lot of people were wondering, I didn't notice Sweat. After watching film, you did see the pressure that he created.
Oh, no doubt. Yes, no doubt. He had 4 or 5 good pressures during those third downs and those passing situations.
Was he a guy that you've always liked? And you told us last week that you would be included with Ryan on some of these trade talks. So when did you know that he was really a target that you guys could go out and get?
Yeah, so it was really just Ryan and his staff working tirelessly before that trade deadline, did a great job. And I knew I loved him when he was coming out, so I already knew that I wanted him because I wanted him coming out of college, and then certainly when you watch him as a pro, he's certainly taking care of business. Handling the run and the pass and being an all-around defensive end. And you love his length and size for sure, and that will create a lot of good things for us, sack fumbles and turnovers for us on defense.
Yeah, so they didn't get him for you in Indy, obviously. Yeah, you're mad.
You had to wait.
We're talking to Matt Eberflus, Waddle and Sylvie on ESPN 1000. You mentioned us a few weeks ago that you really like Jalen Johnson, and I think by reading some of the articles that from the start on where he came from under your leadership, that you guys have really built up this trust. After he was being shopped and he was going and negotiating with other teams, did you ever call him into your office and then have a pep talk with him once he was brought back and you knew he wasn't getting traded?
Yeah, we just had a conversation man to man. It's just, that's a hard time for a player, during those times, and you're unsure what's going on. Same thing with Montez. He was in that same situation. And, I really said the same conversation to both. When you're a coach or a player, you're in those situations sometimes, and we all understand that. And there's a lot of stress and things that you go through emotionally there. And he knows I love him. Jalen knows that I love him. I love the way he plays. I love the way he's growing as a football player, and he's continuing to get better. And he does everything we ask him to do.
While you don't pick favorites, do you feel like you have a special bond with Jalen Johnson?
Yeah, I do. I feel like I have a special bond with a lot of players, and I just love to see guys grow in this profession, and he's certainly doing that, and he's really honing his skill in.
Speaking of growth, Coach, can you fill us in on the progress or your evaluation of the progress of your two young rookie defensive linemen, Pickens and Dexter, and whether or not it'll be a priority for you for them to get more snaps as the season unfolds? Yeah,
they're really progressing well. I really believe that. Those guys are really working hard in practice. They're obviously great athletes, big type athletes that you have inside, and that's a credit to, again, our scouting department and Ryan for bringing those guys in. But we're certainly looking to get those guys more snaps, going forward here the second half of the season.
Matt, you've always made it a priority that penalties was just a killer. Why so many more penalties this year compared to last year?
Yeah, I think we're doing a good job, in terms of, special teams is down. I think defense is down. We just got to do a good job with the false starts, and some holding penalties. Now, some of the holding penalties you can agree or disagree with, but we can certainly handle the pre-snap penalties this second half of the season, starting with this game right here. We just got to get those cleaned up.
Why aren't they cleaned up?
I would just say this: we got to really do a good job as coaches and players, working together on the snap count and working together to get that cleaned up. And it's a partnership, and we got to do it together.
And then Velus Jones, I asked you about him last week, Coach. It's something that has not sat well with me and some of the people in the fan base. You mentioned the face mask, that's an expectation that a professional football player cannot do. He dropped another pass. It seems like most of the plays are negative plays. I want to ask you point blank, what is he doing to earn a spot on the roster at this point?
Well, I would just say this: when people have tough issues, as a player, we're always there to support them, and we're going to make a week-to-week decision based on who's up and who's down. But we're always going to support our players.
Coach, finally, when will you guys have to make the decision on who be your starting quarterback on Thursday night?
Yeah, we'll know more on Wednesday. Like I said, it's day-to-day for Justin, so we want to give that time to really evaluate that properly, and we'll know more on Wednesday.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
There's Matt Eberflus.